Towards the end of last year, I started working on a few prototype projects, just projects that I wanted to start working in the new year, the year 2022. Something that hopefully by the end of 2022 I could have a very solid demo of. Um, Something I could show off, something I could eventually complete. Last year, I did end with a demo, but it wasn't exactly as far along as I wanted it to be. Or I should say it wasn't as well designed as I wanted it to be. The problem with the game that I chose last year was that it was, well, for one, it's very complicated and it's very time consuming. It meant that most of my time was spent, designing tile maps, drawing just art, handling just a ton of data that comes with all of that. And I think the project's doable. I could finish it eventually. But with my limited time, I needed a project that I could work on in my free time, something that I wanted to work on, something that didn't feel like work. More so, it just felt like me designing and creating a world and creating a story that I can tell. So that's really what I wanted to do. I eventually stumbled on a video by Heartbeast, another really excellent YouTube channel out there. And the video was on his prototype for this 3D dungeon crawling demo that he had. And seeing that it brought back a lot of really nostalgic memories. Memories of playing Ultima Underworld, the Stygian Abyss, memories of playing Eye of the Beholder. Growing up, I didn't have a very powerful PC. I grew up with with an old, slower computer, so the games that I could run were those classic CRPG games. And those games really, I became obsessed with wanting to build one. So much so that, that was one of the leading factors that brought me to teach myself how to code. And so I first started building the demo in the Godot game engine. I chose Godot because, for one, I've been following Godot for quite a while, and I've been very excited to see the progress that it's made with Godot 3.4 and everything like that. And I really wanted to try it out and evaluate if I could use it to build this game from the ground up. Which I found out that absolutely doable, though not 100% ideal, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But for now, let me just show you the demo of this version of the game. Alright, so if I run the game, and here we are. So as you can see, there's actually mouse look. It allows you to rotate all the way around, but that'll eventually change. That's one thing I wanted to do with this game, is I wanted to do something that not a lot of games in this style do. I think there's a lot of room for not just improvement, but just, ease of use, stuff like that. It's really hard to see, but on the screen it says pick up an item to press F. So I'm going to press F, and as you can see, I picked up the spear. Let me remember the controls. If I click I, then I get the inventory, and I can equip the... Oh, sorry, I dropped the items, which I think I found a bug, so... This is definitely a work in progress, but anyway, you can rotate around like this using Q and E, W for forward, S for backwards, strafing, and when you're in place, then you can look around, but then it will automatically reset your view to be pointing towards the direction that you're facing. The game looks pretty ugly, and I have a solution for that eventually. But for now, this is just how the game looks, the most up-to-date version of the game. Over here in the graveyard, we have these ghosts. I can smack them around with the spear, and they will eventually die. There's no death or any, like, for the player. I mean, there's no way to get damaged, nothing like that yet. Over here, you can see a cave, and I can step through this cave, and suddenly I am in I'm in a dungeon. You can see there's a switch over here, so if I activate the switch, it's going to open the door, and I can go through there. And yeah, there's just a little dungeon room, just a tiny little dungeon demo over here. So this is the kind of game that I want to make. Open world, it's all based on just these grid cells, meaning that the world can kind of grow as big as it needs to. It's trivial to cull cubes from the scene. And all these are made up of faces, so they can just all be instanced in one pass once the geometry is all baked together. So there's a lot of room for optimization, and it means that I don't have to focus on a lot of the technical details. I can focus on making a game, which is something that I desperately need to do. Now, it's not all great. Godot, I think, is a fantastic tool, and I'm really excited for version 4. But at the moment, I don't know if it's exactly the tool for the job for this style of game. Mostly because of the fact that the way you place these cells and everything, it's kind of it's a unique challenge that I'm sure Godot could handle. It's just I haven't found a great way to do it yet. For example, it's difficult to actually select these cells. So if I wanted to edit one of them, you see, I actually did get one to select, but it took some finicking. A few solutions I had was to give each of these cells a collision body, and that made selecting them a little easier. But wasn't a really big fan of that solution since they don't need a collision body. It's just wasted memory and all that. Also, it didn't actually work that well. So the solution I came up with, and I think this is really cool that Godot lets you do this. But I created this little selection plugin that basically it's super simple. It just allows you to just make selections and then move the cells around if you want and stuff like that. Um, as you can see, when you I also made a plugin, so made these all tool scripts so that when you create more cells, it will actually automatically figure out the walls and remove them from the scene completely. If it figures out that it needs to build a wall, then it will automatically build that wall for you. So it'll figure out, it's pretty smart about that. It's not super fast though, and this tool is also really, it's not great. It's pretty slow. It's also when you start hooking into Godot's tool system, it becomes kind of flaky. It's probably on my end, but I've had to multiple times. Multiple times, the editor will lock up, and I can't get it to actually work anymore, and I have to close the program and open it back up. And I'm pretty sure it's not on my side because I've combed through my code. I couldn't find any infinite loops. I just think that when a lot of things are happening, it can kind of bog down the editor until it gets into a state that's really hard to recover from. So little things like that made it kind of challenging to actually continue developing in Godot, but I found that it's an excellent prototyping tool for this project that I'm working on. So let me take you over to the current state of the application. So I actually rewrote the basically the whole game engine from scratch using the Nim programming language and Raylib. If you're familiar with my channel, familiar with my work, I've been a big fan of Nim clear back since I first discovered it. I think even before I hit college, before like 1 point or 0.14 or something like that. But I've been keeping track of the of Nim for several years now, and I feel like it's finally at a point where I feel very comfortable investing basically a lot more time using it. And I'll be putting out a video comparing Nim to other programming languages that I've been working with in the last few years just to really find the language that I want to stick with and build all my tools in. And I'm pretty confident that that language is Nim. So I'm going to be basically writing all of my game engine code, everything I can think of, just basically in Nim. It does everything I want, so why not? So yeah, let me start the game. Let's see how it's currently working. So it's not quite as up to speed as the Godot version, but it does have actually some unique features. Um, yeah, basically my goal has been to get this game engine up to speed with the Godot version, and then eventually, once that's done, I should be able to just explode and start building the world out. So if I load, let me load the current state of the world. We're in, it looks like play mode right now. One thing you'll notice, actually let me go back to play mode and just show off the game. The assets are a lot higher resolution. So one thing I really didn't like about let me see if I still have it open, the Godot version is that these assets are really low resolution. They're 32 by 32 pixel art. But the window is being rendered in a higher resolution like that, so you get these half pixels, um, which I don't think look terrible, but yeah, as you can see, there's like some tearing, and it just looks kind of weird. It looks like everything. It kind of really brings emphasis to the fact that everything's really flat. And so I've been experimenting with higher resolution assets, doing something in 64 by 64 pixels. And I think that makes the diagonal lines look a lot crisper, a lot more clean. When you actually go up to the wall, since the field of view is also 90 degrees, you get the full sprite without any warping or anything. So you can fully appreciate the texture that's on the wall. It is a lot harder to actually create these textures. My art skills aren't, quite up to snuff yet, but I did figure out find a few tools that allowed me to generate a lot of these textures. So I think it's going to be doable, and it's something that I'm actually really excited to get better at and practice. But yeah, as you can see, you can move around. It's fast, it's fluid. This is just a very simple demo scene I put together. There's a lot more editing capabilities in this version. So the Godot version, like you can also adjust these walls and set their faces using just these editor values over here. And this works, but again, like there would be cases where I would like clear the texture, but in memory it wouldn't actually clear, and it would just cause issues, and I had to quit the editor and reopen. Again, I'm sure this is something I could figure out, but it's not that hard to actually build this type of system myself, and it would give me the ultimate control and flexibility with it. So that's why I'm still opting to use this. It just works a lot better. It's just a lot more fluid. But yeah, so I can go up to a wall. The editor is currently being rendered at a very low resolution, the same resolution as in-game, and that is something that I want to change. But um, let's see. So let me move this yellow cube over here. And this yellow cube is basically the cube that it will duplicate when you create a new one. So if I create a cube over here, kind of carve out the walls, you'll see that it copies the cube over here. And this cube can go up and down in the world. I can actually grow it to be really big. I can move it over here and create a giant room over here just really fast. Like that. And you can see this blue box. So this is the bounds of this current world. Over here in the Worlds tab, I can actually create a second one. So it was spawned over here, and I can put it over to the side here. And then now I can, edit this world. And these worlds will be stitched together via portals, so you can just pass through them immediately, and you're not going to see any loading screen or anything like that. A little bit about how the world actually works, or how I have the game set up. Things are separated into these things called worlds. So a world would be like the interior of a house. It could be a dungeon. It could be the overworld. It could be the underworld. Anything that's a place that you have to teleport to that isn't necessarily connected spatially. That would be considered a world. And this worlds tab is where you would actually edit that and place them in the grand global, I guess, whatever you want to call it, space. They can place all the worlds in. And then there's going to be this environment tab. This is going to allow me to eventually adjust, the fog, stuff like, why can't I move? I must have broken something. But yeah, adjust things like fog, adjust things like, maybe make the sky a clear blue color, stuff like that. So yeah, that's basically the current state of this game. I'm having such a fun time working on it. I truly think that this will be the let me move my face there. I truly think this will be the project for 2022 for me. So stay tuned. I'm going to create a bunch of videos on it. If you guys like it, please keep up. If you guys like it, I could really use feedback on what kind of features and stuff that you would like to see in a open world RPG that has some of the constraints that the game that I showed off has. If you have any ideas, please pop into my Discord channel, which will be linked in the description below. You know, it's a very small community, but we get on there all the time. I'm on there all the time, trying to answer as many questions as I possibly can. You know, obviously I have a full-time job, and then I'm working on this on the side, so my time's stretched pretty thin. But I try to answer as many questions as I can, and the people in the community are very helpful and just really great. Anyway, I have a lot of hope for this new year, guys. I'm really excited, and I hope that you'll join me in this adventure that in building this 3D fully open world game. I'm really excited for it. So I'll see you guys in the next video.